Hello and welcome to day 24 of the Genesis of Androzani Advent Calendar for 2019.
Yes?
Yes.
Hello.
We are absolutely filming these in order, aren't we?
Completely.
Only one left.
Yep. Only one to go.
Mm.
And that's tomorrow's. We
Yeah.
film these the day they come out.
Yep.
Happy Halloween.
Yes. Patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani if you'd like to contribute to the channel. We have multiple tiers which grant you things like early access, exclusive access, and requesting videos for us to do. Twitter.com/Androzani if you'd like to get in contact with me. Or just see what we're discussing. Yeah, that's all the plugs, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Twitter, Patreon, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Is that what people do? Call to action? I don't know. I mean,
We don't really say that.
No.
That's a bit of a... don't like that one.
we don't care to play the YouTube game.
Sorry about the game.
I know how to play it.
But what we're doing is on day 24, which is today,
Today.
we are doing what we did last year on day 24. Even if it wasn't... I'm not sure if it was uploaded on day 24.
It may have been.
Maybe. But what we did for day 24 last year was a review of Big Finish Story, and we reviewed a Christmas special, which was The Chimes of Midnight.
Correct.
So this year, we're doing that again. We're going to... Not The Chimes of Midnight again, even though that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But we will be reviewing a Big Finish Christmas Story again.
Yes.
This time, not with the 8th Doctor, but with the 6th Doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Sander himself.
Yes.
And that being the story called The One Doctor.
The one.
The One Doctor.
Singular.
Mm-hmm. A multi-doctor story called The One Doctor.
In a sense,
Of course, it would have to have Colin Baker in it for a bit to be
Yes.
The One Doctor. But yeah, we'll be reviewing that right now as you're watching. But yeah, suppose I should crack right into it. So I've listened to the story over the course of this week, sort of one episode a day in between time. I think I did one episode a day. I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, did each episode.
I did Wednesday yesterday and I finished it on the way home today.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's a 4-parter, but the episode length is very variable. It goes from it's really long and really short. I don't know. Because when I first saw the length, it's like 2 hours. I'm like, that's a 6-parter. And then I listened to it, I'm like, no, it's not. It's like a 5-parter. And then I got the last episode, I'm like, oh, it's a 4-parter.
Yeah. And then there's the little bit at the end, which is not really part of the story.
I don't think I listened to that bit at the end.
Because there's a whole bunch of silence, and then it's just the Weakest Link parody, just asking questions back and forth for like 5 minutes, and then finally they start corpsing, and they're like, I don't think we can do this anymore. No, I'm quite tired of it. I'm the Weakest Link. Goodbye.
Rightio.
And a good night to you all at home too, is what he says.
What a prank. That's why I was confused, because the duration on the end, I was like, is the credits 20 minutes?
Yeah. No, there's a large chunk of that is silence.
Yes, but without further ado, what is your initial thoughts on the story, The One Doctor?
Fun. It's fun. There's creative elements to it. It gets a little bit meta at times. It's fun. I mean, that's pretty much it. Keep it succinct. Yeah, I liked it.
It's vintage Gareth Roberts, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you'd expect of a, hey Gareth Roberts, can you do a multi-doctor story?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's got all the same comedic quips that you get from a Gareth Roberts script, except because it's Big Finish, it's really fanboy-esque.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny. There's a lot of the good stuff in it. But yeah, I just love the fact that, like, you know, they throughout history, obviously, you know, had the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, the 2 Doctors. I think there's a story called the 4 Doctors. you know, because the whole thing of like multi-doctor stories is they named them after how like
the number of
doctors that should have usually were in it.
Yeah.
Even though that kind of technically wasn't the case at times.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 5 doctors, it's really the 3 doctors.
Yeah. And if you look at the 3 doctors, it's really the 2 doctors.
Yeah. But that's the only one where they're all 100% there. Well, except, I mean, there's a couple of big finishes where they're there. They're all there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, because some of them are dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something like Light at the End.
Yeah.
They're not, like, they're not on TV.
Yeah.
They're still, like, they're old and it's a retroactive portrayal.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Especially with someone like Tom Baker.
Tom Baker.
But anyway, we're getting off topic. The fact that there is a story called The One Doctor and it has Colin Baker in it, I think that's quite clever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's only one doctor that would be narcissistic enough to be like, I am the one doctor.
Yeah.
Even though narratively, within the actual context of the story, there is a reason for him to say that.
And the only reason why he accepts Troughton and the 2 doctors is because Troughton was his hero.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And yeah, well, he sort of accepts Troughton.
Does he?
There's kind of
it's been a few years since I've seen that story.
They're more antagonistic towards each. They kind of got a John Pertwee Patrick Troughton relationship where it's like they sort of get along, but that's mainly just the actors, not so much the actual people. You know, that's the actors, not the characters. Actually getting along. But yes, the One Doctor starring Colin Baker.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the 6th Doctor in this story?
He's great. He's a lot of fun. He's much softer than he is in the show, in the television show.
Oh, yeah. You know what I love about it?
What?
We get a rom-com with Colin Baker.
Well, it's...
I find that so amusing that exists. In the canon, we get a rom-com with the 6th Doctor.
And he has a companion who... constantly calls him sexy.
Oh, that would be hang on, I'll get it. Sally Ann Stubbins.
Sally Ann, that's right.
Who was the companion of Banter Zane, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I like the fact she's like, I like that you've got like an extra on, you're like a huggable man.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And God. Yeah, no, but he's great in it.
He's like flattered but also annoyed at the same time.
Yeah.
He's got stuff to do.
Yeah, and he doesn't really care. He doesn't think of humans really. He's just sort of in his own world, thinking about himself.
We need like a sequel to this with the 6th Doctor and the 10th Doctor, where like she thinks that the 10th Doctor's a fucking like skinny twat. she's going after Colin.
That'd be great.
And then he says, "Clearly, I am the One Doctor."
The one. Yes, I like Colin Baker's Doctor, and he's very, very fun in this particular story. I mean, he's always great in Big Finish. But Colin Baker is extraordinary in Big Finish.
Well, he's a very funny man.
Yeah, he's naturally comedic. Like I've said this before, but at conventions, he's such a wordsmith when it comes to his weaving of stories. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things he does in this story is when he's got when he's answering the questions on the weakest link thing, and then he's trying to debunk it basically, and he goes through, well, what did I wish for on my 900th birthday, which is an interesting age to state.
Yeah.
But I did actually when I was listening to it, I was like, hang on a second, how can it be 900? But then I had a chat with a bunch of people who've read lots of books and listen to audios who basically explain that there's an 8th Doctor story, McGann story, called Vampire Science, where he goes back to 0.
Ah, right.
And that's how Eccleston's 900.
Gotcha.
So the time between McGann, Hurt, and Eccleston,
900 years.
900 years
of the Time War.
Yep.
Well, probably more like 400, 500. Or eternally, because it's the Time War, you dumbass.
Yeah.
But
there's 900 years between like the middle of McGann to the start of Eccleston.
Yeah.
Yet there's only like 3 years of the 10th Doctor. It's interesting how the timelines work like that. But anyway, in his first counting of his age, he's 900 at this point.
Yeah.
So from Hartnell to Colin.
So that also adds credence to when Matt Smith starts talking about how old he is later on. And actually, I mean, and his body not starting to fully age as he's counting both.
Yeah, and
900s.
And now the Doctor's age is debatable depending on how you interpret Heaven Sent.
Yeah, and I quite like his age being ambiguous.
Yeah, because he's either 12,000. Well, Jodie is either 12,000, or was it? Hang on, was it billion or trillion? 2.5 billion or 2.5
billion, I think.
Billion, yeah. This is one of those.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. But yes, on the Sixth Doctor's 900th birthday, the fact that he wished for 3 things.
Yeah.
And the fact that the machine knew the 3 things took it a while because it's a Time Lord brain, but it took the machine a while to guess. But then he managed to figure out. He asked the question, "What don't you know?" And then it broke.
You are the feeblest contestant. Goodbye.
Yes, and I love the fact that at the end of near the end of the universe, the Doctor's been around so much that there's a parody of him.
Yeah, there's a con man using his name to get what he wants.
Yeah.
I suppose we should move on to...
We'll move on to, I think it's Banto Zane? Yeah, Banto Zane, a.k.a. the One Doctor.
Played by Christopher Biggins, I think his name is.
So, yeah.
I don't really know who he is. I've just seen him on British panel shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's so entertaining as this non-Doctor. What he postures to be this great hero.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like the reverse of David Morrissey's Doctor. Where it's like he knows he's a fraud, whereas David Morrissey's Doctor didn't know. It's funny how many things Davies borrowed from this story.
Yeah.
Weakest Link.
Yeah.
End of the Universe.
Yeah.
And a fake Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And romantic narcissism.
Oh man, I love Morrissey's Doctor, even though I know it's not the Doctor. That 15 minutes of that episode where he just fully believes he's the Doctor.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like if John Pertwee was a New Who Doctor.
Yes.
Which only speaks good things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
John Pertwee, written by Russell T Davies.
Yes, please. But yes, he's great, and the fact that he's got he's using the celebrity and he's using the reputation of the Doctor always being eternally nice. And the fact that he's using the reputation of the Doctor being so kind and such a generous soul, and the Doctor he encounters is the 6th Doctor.
Yeah.
I think it's just a wonderful bit of irony, and it's just the relationship between him and all the other characters is really funny as well. And how it turns out he's been conning everyone. And he's been married already, and he uses the exact same line to win women over. And oh, by the way, spoilers. We didn't say that.
It's a review.
I think we should say up front if people...
Have I ever done a spoiler-free review here? I did. Endgame. That's the only one.
Yeah.
I did do that.
And you did one other, which was 30 seconds long.
Which one was that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was Endgame.
All right.
I did that as a troll because I wanted to say go watch the film.
Ah, yes.
And then I'll I'm not the biggest fan of spoiler free reviews, just personally. I understand why they exist, I just don't like them. I
prefer to watch a review of something once I've seen it. And just because I like hearing the discussion of things, not because whatever.
Yeah, I understand people watch them to see if it's worth going to a film.
That is a fair enough statement.
But I'm one of those people that's like, even if I watch a spoiler-free review, it won't. That's not what's going to convince me to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, for me, what convinces me to go is who's made it, what did this, that, and the other thing, and so on and so forth. And whatever.
But yeah, the One Doctor is very, very good idea.
Yeah, and he's. The way he switches between the noble Doctor and his actual persona is really funny as well. And the way he manages to extract all these credits from these people as reward. And he postures to say, no, I couldn't possibly do that. And then his companion's like, oh, Doctor, you must. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, if you insist.
Yeah.
But trust me, I will give it back to you.
God, and the romantic scenes between him and I
Mel?
keep feeling the name. No. It's Sally Ann Stubbins.
Sally Ann Stubbins.
I think it's in either the first or the second episode. Probably the second one. Start of that, maybe the first. It's like it's intentionally gross.
Yeah.
It's like very like just stop.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah. It's a bit of a prophetic knee-jerk reaction. I guess, I mean, it could be also taken as a bit of a reaction to the Eighth Doctor and Grace kissing, but it's also like a prophetic reaction to David Tennant and Rose, to Eccleston and Rose.
Even though I'm pretty sure, didn't this come out before New Who?
Oh yeah, it was 2001. That's why I'm saying prophetic. Like it was like it foretold.
Right,
things.
it was after the TV movie.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's probably a reaction to that.
And there's a lot of stuff in Big Finish that era that was a foretelling of New Who.
And also there was a line in this, because also the Big Finish often gets quite meta, but there's a line in this, I can't remember exactly the context on which it was said, but Colin Baker says something like, well, people want visuals, they want to see the monsters, they don't want just the audio. There was some line like that. I was like, ha ha ha.
Oh yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
My favorite meta, well not meta, but like in terms of like reference fanwank line was when they used quark as a swear word, like a slur.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's a deep cut.
Dirty little quark.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Oh dear. But yeah, doesn't he get eaten by
A sludge monster?
What the name is it the Jelloid?
Yes, the Jelloid, which is a part of
the cylinder. Very confusing.
Yeah.
The thing is with the One Doctor.
So can you hold this for a second?
If you look at what are you doing? Oh, all right. If you look at this like list of characters here, they won't see it, but like those slashes. Because it's the same voice actor doing both. So like Cylinder and the Jelloid are both by Matt Lucas.
Yeah, they're Matt Lucas. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how this story works. The fact it's you kind of have to listen to it to understand.
Yeah.
But like they're two different characters, but they're kind of the same.
Yeah, there's parallels to everything.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
Yeah.
But he gets it's a very like cartoon ending, the sense that the baddie gets eaten by the big monster and Colin walks off with the happy music and says, I am the One Doctor.
Yeah. And even Colin himself earlier gets eaten by the
Oh yeah.
And then he
gets himself out.
Yeah. Ridiculous. And it's this. I got new headphones, and the sound design of Colin Baker writhing in the sludge monster's stomach, where you could hear its digestive fluids sliming around its internal organs, was revolting. It was awful. Also, his voice reminded me of the Absorbaloff.
Well, it was like there was another thing it reminded me of is, you know, those memes where they go like they changed the voice.
Oh yeah.
So it's
there's a voice wobble.
So it's like
yeah.
Not sure if you've seen those. Anthony loves those. There's one of a dog, and it goes. And it's like their eyes get really big as well.
Oh yeah, the content aware scale or something like that.
Yeah, content aware scale with that noise. That's like audio content aware scale.
Yeah.
But it was like, Matt Lucas as the Absorbaloff with content aware audio. That's what it was.
Tastes like chicken. Yes. Tis good.
Yeah, but yeah. It's very, I mean, I'm sure, because, you know, we've said many times on this channel that comedy is a very subjective thing. I'm sure there are plenty of people that don't enjoy the story purely for the fact that it's so quirky.
Well, it's just ridiculous. The whole story, the whole premise is
I feel like you kind of have to be one of those fucks who actually likes Colin Baker's Doctor to enjoy the story.
100%. You This is not the story that's going to turn you into a Baker fan.
No.
Not because Baker's bad in it, because Baker is great in it.
You have to be a fan of Baker to enjoy it.
Yeah. It's just so gross at times and weird but it's great. I really enjoyed it.
Yes. You know what was one pleasant surprise
Yeah.
that I found from this story was Mel.
Yes! She's really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to listen to more.
Mel removed of John Nathan Turner.
Yeah.
Given to Nick Briggs.
I need to listen to more of her in Big Finish because I really was endeared to her.
I've heard good things about the Juggernauts because it's Mel's in it and it's a Davros story.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
she just missed out on being with Davros by one episode, but for good reason.
But also she has this speech that she gives about being determined because of who she is and what her family did for a Christmas festival and stuff, and it's played completely straight, but you can tell it's a joke. Like, you're supposed to be laughing at how like inane it is, and this rousing, because she's given the typical sort of, I'm the Doctor, I'm 903 years old, I come from the planet Gallifrey, the constellation of Castabris, blah, blah, blah. That whole speech, she's giving that speech, but about Christmas festivities at a local church, and how she's not going to give up, and it's so tongue-in-cheek and so ridiculous that it becomes genuinely endearing, even though it is a piss take of those kind of rousing speeches.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's an actual character.
Yeah.
She doesn't, scream and cry. She's actually very good.
Yeah, she's
Bonnie Langford's fine. There's nothing wrong with her.
No, not at all. She's good. She's really good. Yeah. When they split off into the two sort of diverging stories, she sort of becomes the more authoritative Doctor-like role. And she's good.
Oh, it's because the Doctor gets put in so many odd circumstances. Yeah. But yeah, I like the fact that halfway through the story they kind of swap. Mel goes with the fake Doctor.
Yeah.
And, Sally goes with the sixth Doctor. Yeah. I think one thing that I really struggle with this story though was I don't know if it's because of how odd it is, or because there may not have been that much exposition intentionally because it's a comedy, but I found it very difficult to visualize this story in my head.
I could visualize the characters, but the space I couldn't.
Yeah, because with a lot of other stories, like Chimes of Midnight and Scherzo, I could very clearly.
Well, Scherzo is probably the best example.
Well, yeah, exactly, because it's nothing.
Yeah,
it's just white plain, and they describe to you whatever appears,
and it's real gross and descriptive.
But like, I could do I mean, if I had the artistic skill, I could do a painting or a drawing, or if there was like a way to photograph my brain, what I'm thinking, I could actually describe to you what my imagination of that story is, like what it looks like.
Yeah.
I can tell you because I've got the entire house that they're in the Chimes of Midnight. I can basically tell you what it looks like, where all the floors are.
What the car looks like out the front.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas with this, it's very blurry. Like there's the characters. I know what the I can imagine what like the creatures and the characters and the robots and stuff. I imagine what they look like, but the actual setting, it's a bit like cloudy in my brain.
For me, because the best Big Finish stories to me, I can visualize on a storyboard in terms of what the framing would be and what the geography would be and how it would be edited and stuff. And this one, I really like this story, but because we're talking about it, so we should talk about things that we were a little lost by. And that was we seem to both have found it a bit hard to place the characters within the narrative, but the story still flowed. The story does make sense. It's just the settings, because it goes to a few different locations, and visualizing those locations and the characters' actions within those locations can be a bit fuzzy.
It's interesting though that you say that like a storyboard, because quite often when I'm listening to Big Finishes, I actually view it from first person point of view. When I was listening to Chimes of Midnight, majority of the time I was thinking from Charlie's first person point of view.
Interesting.
As in what she would see.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking most of the time. And it would sometimes change depending on what was in the scene. Like if she wasn't there, obviously I would be otherwise. Yeah. So if it was the Doctor, like the 8th Doctor's scene, but she wasn't there, it would probably be from his point of view. But if they were together, I'd be from Charlie's point of view.
Interesting.
It was interesting like that. It was the same thing with Scherzo.
Mm.
And I think with, funnily enough, with Davros, I was from Davros's point of view, not the Doctor's.
Well, given how that episode is written, it kind of makes sense.
Mm.
Have you listened to I, Davros?
I've listened to the first two,
Yeah.
not the second.
It is an epic, so it takes a while to get through.
The one where he's a child really got me.
Yeah.
The second one, I don't remember that much
Well,
from it.
we probably shouldn't give too much away of our thoughts of I, Davros, because I'm sure we'll get to that.
Some point.
Because it's a big part of Big Finish's lore.
But yeah, I was, with this one, I wasn't actually taking it from person point of view. I was more sort of just two-shot in my mind, depending on who was talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mel was actually really good. I liked her a lot in this, more than I ever have before.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then we obviously had Sally Ann Stubbins.
She just kept going after the Doctor. No, she's good. She's funny. Her comic timing's really good. She makes a great foil, a comedic foil to play off of the other characters. Yeah, she's good. I liked her.
I find that there's an interesting line at the end of the story when she says that she... I don't know if she's saying this in legitimately or ironically, but she says she goes after losers. Do you remember that at the very end of the story?
Oh, yeah. Well, she's drawn to losers. I heard that as she's had a whole bunch of ex-boyfriends who were also lousy and jerks and manipulative or whatever. Like fucking what's his face was. But I also didn't think of it as because she was pursuing the Doctor. It could also be, a backhanded comment towards him.
But I think it didn't really matter because he doesn't care.
No, he's off in his own world.
Yeah. But even if he did care, it wouldn't be he wouldn't be personally offended. It would be like, how rude.
Yeah. Well, my dear young lady, I'll tell you this. Blah, 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 blah.
What you need is a good smack bottom.
Oh, the 60s.
Oh. Well, it's Moffat.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Moffat
interpreting
the 60s.
And he was... but yeah, we'll get to that. You'll find out our opinions on that story.
That one's the last one possible because when we started reviewing Current, it was from the episode after that.
Mm-hmm. So once we get to that episode, we'll be caught up and then we'll just be doing modern and classic. But
yeah. But Sally Ann Stubbins was very funny.
Yeah, she was really, really funny. She had some of the best lines and moments of the whole thing.
Yes. And then you sort of have... I don't even know if you could call this the main villain, because it really isn't. But I keep forgetting the name. I keep clicking off, and it escapes my brain. I don't know why. Cylinder and a sort of AKA the Jelloid.
He's just a puddle of sludge. I mean, he's amusing. And
because it's sort of like he sort of upgrades into the Jelloid, doesn't he?
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah, this is gonna sound weird based on how he's described, but he's almost a bit generic as sort of just placeholder antagonist,
Yeah.
That's nothing wrong with
like
that because the whole story is for being strung along for comedic scenarios to occur. So him being a sort of stand-in villain is fine because that's not the point of the story.
It would be like if the creature from the pit was less featured.
Yeah, basically.
But it is featured.
Yeah, and was closer to personality like Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just all a big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
As is fans' reputation with that story.
Yes.
Some people say that the Time Meddler is historically inaccurate.
Yeah.
because they pick up a Viking helmet.
Right.
And the Vikings are the ones that arrive, obviously. But apparently in reality, they never actually wore those helmets.
Yeah, the helmets didn't have horns.
However, there is an offhanded line that may debunk that.
Yeah.
And that's when Stephen Taylor says, he says, "What's that?" Like basically saying, because he has no concept of what a Viking helmet is. And the Doctor says, "What do you think it is, a space helmet for a cow?" It's very possible that might be the truth. In Doctor Who lore. Because if you remember, the Time Meddler's the first pseudo-historical.
Sure.
So, it does have sci-fi elements, and it would make sense why a space helmet from a cow would be dropped out of a basket by the meddling monk.
Yes, indeed. Good theory.
Anyway.
We should do a video on Doctor Who fan theories.
There's other channels that have done that. Doctor Blue's done a couple of those. I think it's the one that pops up in the feed the most is the Ninth Doctor's face. Like, you know how in Rose he looks in the mirror and he's like, "Oh, could have been worse," and it's explaining how that makes sense.
Big Finish, get on it. Obviously, I don't want to be demanding to Big Finish. I love Big Finish. I only say that in jest.
Exhausted Supplies basically explains it all anyway, and that's non-canon, but I consider it canon.
Yeah.
All you need to do is you just need to remaster that story with the actual voice actors.
Yeah, that's such a... it's so good. It's so good.
But yeah, they hired Matt Lucas to play the Jelloid.
Yep.
It's just... because of course they would. And, you know, that's how he got the job as Nardole.
Could be. Because they're like, "Oh, you did such a good job as the Jelloid in the One Doctor."
What if Nardole ate the Capaldi?
What if Nardole is the Jelloid?
Is that possible?
Well, does Nardole time travel? Well, obviously he does with the Doctor, but before he meets the Doctor, has he time traveled?
I mean, I was going to say, how is that possible? But then, you know, Jack turned into a massive face, so...
There you are.
Anything can happen. Then there was Councillor Potterkill, aka Assembler 2. I can't remember who that is.
Neither can I.
It's one of those stories.
Bits of it are a blur.
And then there's also Citizen Soccery, aka Mentos. I vaguely remember that.
Is he the one that the fake Doctor tries to get the money off of?
I think so.
Yeah. It's just basically he's a character, but his main goal there is to sort of deliver exposition.
Then there's the Questioner from The Weakest Link, aka Queen Elizabeth.
That's right.
So instead of Anne Robinson, it's Queen Elizabeth.
Ding, 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 ding. That's good. That's so good, man. Yeah, she's great. She's great. She's just pitch perfect as a parody.
So now I realise that that Bad Wolf is based on 2 Sixth Doctor stories now. Vengeance on Varos.
Yes.
And The One Doctor.
Russell quite likes the Sixth Doctor, I think.
I wonder why.
Who knows? It may never come to light.
Which Doctor is Damaged Goods? Is that McCoy?
Damaged... I thought that was Davison.
I'll have a look. It's the one bit of Doctor Who lore that he wrote before he was the showrunner. Russell.
Oh, yeah, because it was... No, I think you're right, actually. It would have been McCoy, because it was during that, like, lung barrel era.
Yeah.
Where it was just exploring the lore and shit.
Look at that.
Because those are the books that were much like...
That's such a day... That cover...
Yeah.
If anyone is wondering what I'm looking at, look up the cover for Damaged Goods, the Doctor Who novel. That is such a Davies cover. Like, religious cross,
yes,
graveyard, with a dying man with purple flesh and tentacles. So like a disgusting form mixed with an anthropomorphized animal,
yes,
mixed with a dead person, mixed with religious text. That's like 3 episodes from series 3 morphed into one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I need to read those books. Because I've read Lung Barrow a while ago.
That's Mark Gatiss, isn't it?
Yeah. Good. From what I remember, it was really good as well. But I need to read more of those books. Because I remember they're slightly more adult.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And then BBC, I think, bought the book rights back to Doctor Who. And then started publishing. Still good, but quite sanitized in comparison. Or I may have had that the other way around. Because it was the Virgin books, then it was the BBC books, I think.
And then you get some Doctor Who books that are just too adult, like Rags. Have you heard of Rags? There's a book called Rags that has, like, a swear word every second sentence.
That's right. Isn't Ace in that and she swears all the time?
Probably.
Yeah.
And there's, like, just... It's gruesome for no reason. I've heard it's horrible. Heard it's a really horrible book to read. But not in like, the same way that... something like... I can't think of an example.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yes.
Are there any other characters?
I'm sure there are. I feel like there's one more.
Assemblers. There's a bunch of assemblers.
Oh yeah, the drones, but
Oh yeah. I
the
think
IKEA drones.
I think they honestly might be my biggest negative with the story.
Yeah.
They reminded me of like, not quite as terrible, but they reminded me of the robots from Dinosaurs in a Spaceship. Where
Yeah.
It's just a bit like and it was interrupting the weakest link. I was like, yeah,
the weakest link
Whiplash.
stuff. The weakest link stuff was actually, ironically, the best
Yeah.
link of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The robots.
Sorry, the feeblest contestant.
The robots are a little bit.
Yeah, no one's so good.
But yeah, the plot. In terms of plot, well, obviously, there's a fake doctor and a bunch of weird shit happens, and then he gets eaten.
The end.
I mean, what else would you want for a Christmas special?
I want to see all the side characters burn in a fiery, horrible death, and then the doctor, he's like, I've got a new companion, and then she gets eaten by the core of the ship, and then in a forklift accident, and then explosions, and then the end. Voyage of the Damned has a lot of collateral damage, but I love it.
You could have that. You could have that.
Yeah.
Or you could have a politician resurrected from the dead who has a nuclear skeleton rising from his skin. And he eats people, and he screams, and he flies, and he shoots electricity out of his body. And he eats bones to the sound of Timothy Dalton's voice. And he eats undercooked chicken with his bare hands with grotty black tire rubber marks on his fingers in a hoodie, and after being tied up with a straitjacket, then he becomes everyone, even in their graves, and laughs non-stop. Oh, and he interrupts the Obama ending the recession.
Or you could have the Doctor break the fourth wall. To you all at home too.
Mm. The One Doctor was written by Gareth Roberts
Yes.
and Clayton Hickman.
Yes.
Roberts obviously wrote The Shakespeare Code,
Yeah.
The Unicorn and the Wasp,
Yeah.
Planet of the Dead,
Okay.
The Lodger,
Oh yeah.
Closing Time,
Oh yeah.
and The Caretaker.
Oh yeah.
And probably won't write again for reasons, apparently. And then Clayton Hickman, dominant voice for Doctor Who magazine, and he also designed a lot of the classic Who DVD covers.
Yes.
And he did some writing as well.
Cool.
Um,
What are his credits, do you know?
for which one?
Not Gareth Roberts, the other guy. Like
Clayton Hickman?
Yeah, what else has he written?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot. He's not known for writing stories, but
He may have just been pitching.
when it comes to Doctor Who magazine and classic Who DVD covers, he's all over it.
Good.
Yeah.
It may have been a situation where he just pitched a few ideas to Gareth Roberts, which was enough of a formation of the skeleton of the story that he's like, he deserves a credit.
Yeah. Well, sometimes these stories are written with a team. Like, I recently found out that a lot of Series 5 was actually... parts of it were written by Rob Sherman. He was actually there in the room as part of the team. And the first time he met Matt Smith, he thought he was going to hate him. He thought Matt Smith was going to be like this just failure of an actor. And then he met him, and Matt Smith came in and said, "Hey guys, isn't Tomb of the Cybermen so great?" And then he ate his words. Rob Sherman loves Matt Smith, so there you go. But he was there.
That explains a lot.
Does it?
Because which of Matt Smith's series is the best?
Yep.
That in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a little bit of a voice in Moffat's ear later down the line.
Well, he certainly wasn't there for Series 7, I can tell you that.
What if he ghost wrote
Do you know why? No. Do you know what? Well, I mean, to be fair, he does kill Solomon in cold blood.
That's true.
But I can tell you he definitely wasn't there. Because, well, unless he was lying, unless somehow his wife didn't know. Because his wife told him that if he ever wrote something like Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, she would divorce him.
Oh.
Thankfully, I'm sure Steve Thompson's wife is much more forgiving.
Yeah. He's an ideas man, Steve Thompson. He's got cool and interesting ideas. But we'll get to that. We'll cover that.
2 of his episodes have interesting ideas that don't work. One of them doesn't even have an interesting idea.
I'm sure we'll get to that.
We have in my bottom 10 last year.
Ah.
Do you remember that one?
I think so. Is it Fear Her?
No.
No.
No, that's Matthew Graham.
Oh, that's Matthew
That
Graham.
was your bottom 10.
That's right.
No, that one's on crack. But no, Curse of the Black Spot. That one's Steve Thompson's that I loathe.
Yeah, I really don't like giving the creative and just anyone too much flack about this because we know how difficult it is to put something together.
Oh yeah.
It's just personal tastes about the end result, but in terms of what gets cut, what was original script, and what changed.
I'm speaking from a critical point of view.
Yeah, we don't harbour anything against any of these writers because I don't envy. Well, I do envy them because I'd love to become a professional writer, but I don't envy the pressure that they are under from the BBC and from time restraints and budget and all that jazz. I commend everyone who works on the show. Anyway, continuing.
But Clayton Hickman, he hasn't written a lot, but he's done a lot with the Doctor Who.
The Zeitgeist.
Yeah. And I think the writing of the story is very reminiscent of Gareth Roberts' TV stories.
Yes.
It's not important, like, if it was wiped, whatever, but if you're looking for a very specific kind of comedic, enjoyable fluff, it's there.
Yeah, it's really fun fluff that goes completely over the line of being really, really entertaining, in my opinion, because of Colin Baker.
Yeah.
And the supporting cast as well.
Well, I mean, Gareth Roberts is like that in his TV stories as well. Like, he loves...
Though I do think his TV stories are better than this.
Oh, not all of them.
Not all of them, but his Tenet ones.
Yeah.
The only two that...
Well, he actually did 3 Tenet ones, remember? He did Planet of the Dead as well.
It's better than 2 of his Tenet ones.
It's better than Closing Time. Let's say that. It's definitely better than Closing Time.
Yeah. I've only seen Closing Time once, I think.
Good. Because don't see it again. Because the last time I saw it, I was in a fit of fury.
Okay, well
Save it for Jake.
Well, if we forget Jake.
Long old grey.
In 7 years' time, when we reach Series 3.
Well, that's Series 6.
That's what I'm saying. So it'll be even longer than that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we'll either be very, very old or very, very dead.
Or both.
Is that possible?
Well, I mean, decomposing is still...
For over 2,000 years.
Decomposing is just part of the aging process, isn't it? When you think about it. You know, it's the circle of life.
Not again.
Have I done the speech before?
No, not you. This morning, my mum's like, hey, on Monday, you need to fill in some papers for life insurance. I'm like, why are you talking about this? It's depressing. Don't talk about that. She's like, yeah, but you might get money if I die. I'm like, don't die.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It's alright. She's in good health. She'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. Just, I think one of our family members got a job doing that life insurance.
Right, so like,
shit.
it's beneficial.
Like, hey, good deal here. What a sad job.
Good deal. Sorry.
Someone needs to write a Doctor Who story about life insurance, like a time travel one.
That's time travel insurance.
But like a double indemnity style one.
Brilliant.
But
Someone's committing insurance.
Except the plot actually, well, you'd have to construct a whole new set of rules, but the plot would be very different because obviously you can travel in time, whereas double indemnity you have to wait it out.
You're onto something there. Jot that down.
Studied that film in high school. But yeah, the writing is witty and Roberts-esque, as you'd expect. Direction. Now, direction's a bit of an odd one to tackle, but we did it last time as well. It does exist, believe it or not, even though you can't see it. There is such thing as a director, even for audio stories.
Yeah, and also especially for the interaction of the characters, the actors need guide, because obviously the actors have natural instincts, but they need molding. That's what actors are there to be done. Mm-hmm. You know, they're there to be molded.
Yes.
Us actors are props when we're being used.
Yeah. Direction is by Gary Russell. Gary Russell has written a lot of Doctor Who novels, Big Finish audios, and was also a script editor for New Who and Torchwood, specifically The Waters of Mars and the End of Time. So he was around that 2009 period.
Was he an editor for Children of Earth?
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I shan't say no more.
He was in that 2009 cycle, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, actually, no. I mean, he's very talented. But in terms of making sense compared to what we listen to, I don't see how. But because I like what we listen to, but it's very different from.
Well, it makes sense if you maybe End of Time.
End of Time is fucking nuts. So yeah.
Yeah. And I would say Gadget is something you get in a story like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's one of those things that could have been so shit, but it's not.
No, because it's a brilliant story.
Yeah. And because you get Zuckerberg Volume 3 in that story after Adam Mitchell and who's the second one? Luke Radigan.
Yeah.
You get the guy from Waters of Mars.
Yeah.
Americans are funny. You're all funny. You guys watching, you're all funny.
All three Americans that are watching.
He also directed a lot of Big Finish audios, a lot of famous ones. So basically all the famous ones you can think of, he directed them.
He's like Big Finish.
Not sure if he did chimes though, but I know he did like Davros and Master and Scherzo and all those.
Did he do? Oh no, I imagine Nick Briggs may have done that. The Sirens of Time.
I don't know.
But yeah,
it was very sound. The only, the only thing I can say is that I just wish that I wish just personally that, well, it's kind of a little bit my fault for not having as much imagination, but I wish that I could better visualize the story setting. That's all.
Yeah. It doesn't break the story, but
I'd like to see this one animated.
Yeah.
That would be weird, but
you're not one to be animated. Though I could picture all the actors' movements and stuff, but the actual blocking of the scenes. But that's a difficult thing to get across in any animation, any audio form.
Indiana Jones.
What?
You said indie animation. I thought of Indiana Jones.
Any animation, but I meant to say any audio form.
Trying to say that they're an independent company. They are, though, aren't they? Technically, Big Finish.
Technically, they're not affiliated officially with the BBC. They just use they've licensed out their properties.
Yeah. Just hope that when all the TV stories have been animated, they consider animating Big Finish. And give
certain Big Finish. I don't want them all done.
I would say 8th Doctor series.
But there's one 8th Doctor that I don't want animated.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't want Scherzo animated.
Well, just close your eyes.
Fair enough. Or they can animate it, but it's just a black screen.
Or just a white screen.
White screen. There we are.
That'll be cheap.
Perfect.
Good way to get the box set going. But I honestly believe... No, actually, no. I can't say... Actually, no, I can say this because I've already said it in the... I was going to save something that I'm going to save for a later video. But technically speaking, when this comes out, that video would have already come out.
Right.
I genuinely think if Rob Sherman had adapted Scherzo in Series 2, I reckon it could have been amazing.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And much better than Idiot's Lantern.
Quite possibly.
Not as accessible. Wouldn't be one that the audience would probably get. Like
yes.
Especially kids, they'd be like, "Hey, the Doctor and Rose and nothing." But you know,
good work.
13 episodes. You got it. I mean, Love and Monsters exists, so surely that could exist.
Yeah, it'll be, save on sets and stuff. Just have to get a big studio and paint it white.
Just be like, it's like, kids are like, oh, this show's weird now, I don't want to watch, but then they see the next time trailer and it's the Sidemen, and you're like, yeah. Except for Jake, because for some reason he doesn't like the Sidemen.
Contrarian. He's not a contrarian. He just prefers the Slovene.
Sound of Music was by Alistair Locke. Locke is known for his Big Finish scores and is also a Dalek voice actor.
Good for him. The music, though it was nothing sweeping or powerful, well, there was sweeping moments, but there was nothing, emotionally moving, worked so well for the comedy, especially the Weakest Link stuff.
Yes, that's the strongest point of the score.
Yep.
I like how at the very beginning of the story, though, it has the sort of Peter Howell 80s vibe.
Yeah.
At first.
Well, it's a synth.
Oh, and one thing I got to mention is how in every episode the title sequence, like, music changes.
Yes. Yeah.
So they start with like the Pertwee theme for some reason. Then they do the Pertwee Delaware theme, and then they do like the what I was saying before about the they did that with the theme as well.
Yeah,
it's quite creative.
I like when they incorporate little changes into the theme and stuff. Like, I mean, obviously this is 11 years removed, actually more than that now, but I kind of wish for when they did Rise of Cybermen and Age of Steel, the intro credits were reversed, so they were mirrored. So the TARDIS was flying on the other side of the screen. Just because, it's just as a little... I mean, it doesn't end the episode, but things like that.
I mean, I did that in my reaction to It Takes You Away.
And people noticed, didn't they? But,
yeah. Oh, how do you not?
Oh no, because it
notice?
was halfway through when they went into the parallel world. That's
When
right.
they go, whenever they're in the parallel world, I flipped my camera and I
Yeah.
put the screen on the other side.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah. It was...
And I changed the color grading as well.
Yeah.
Something actually happened in Series 11 that made me want to do something with my video.
Well, there you go. That's good. Sorry, I was just checking the time.
It's good. But anything else to say about the writing, direction, or score before we move on to the trivia?
It's good.
Okay, is it trivia then?
Trivia it up.
Good.
It is trivia time. That Connor's not going to put words on the screen, but trivia time.
Yeah.
Now, guys.
This is not just trivia, this is kind of references. I put these in there just so that I wouldn't forget them, because there's a lot of references
Yep.
that I'm sure we wouldn't even remember. The cylinder calls the Doctor Johann Schmidt, Dr. von Wer, Gatri, Theta Sigma, and Snail.
Well, Johann Schmidt is John Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Theta Sigma.
Alpha, Omega, Theta, no, Alpha, Omega, Delta. I don't know that Greek alphabet.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, isn't it?
Alpha, Beta, Gamma.
Omega, I think.
Omega. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Ood Sigma. The questioner poses a question to Mentos about the master bakers of Barastabon. Don't know what that's a reference to.
Master Bakers of Baristabon. There might be like a TV show reference or something for like a British show.
Mentos answered that Gentex non-Drian was reported to have originated with the phrase, "You can take a pescaton to water, but you can't make him sing," to a question posed with a question. Now, I know this because the first ever Doctor Who audio story ever recorded was Doctor Who and the Pescatons, which was a fourth Doctor story.
I see.
That was recorded when Sarah Jane was on the show. That's how long ago it was recorded. And Who recons did one of their CGI recons to that story.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's weird because Tom Baker's afro is very small because the animation only allows you that much. Pretty sure I swear they do it on, is it Google SketchUp that it's called?
Yeah.
I think they do it on that.
Well, because it allows you to do very basic.
It's either that or it's Gary's mod. It's one of those two.
Yeah. Basic environments and then character models that you can pose frame by frame and such.
Yeah, it's quite freaky.
It's so cool though what they do.
Oh yeah, it's some of it's a bit whoa, but the stuff I think there is actually some genuinely good stuff they did in there, all the airport stuff in the faceless ones, which is why I'm looking forward to when the actual animation comes out, because I'm sure with the Macrotera, when I watched that I was like, wow, this is kind of what it looked like, but way better now because it's an actual cartoon, and I'm like, all the faceless ones is coming. Anyway, though the one thing that I really don't like about the motion in those stories that they animate is the sword fights, because it's all just pre-animated attacks, and there's a lot of them in the Massacre, in the Mythmakers, and in the Highlanders. I think the Highlanders, the whole final episode is just a massive sword fight on a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinkum the Lesser invented the Spone Catcher. No idea what that means. In June 1975, the Doctor based himself in 35 Jefferson Road, Woking, during an invasion by the Cybermen. Mel is a girl lived in a large house in Peace Pottage, about 7 miles from town. These Spraxis jelloids are large single-celled organisms who can live in excess of 50 million years. So it's like if the creature from the pit was the Sarlacc.
Yeah, basically.
But not a pit. It was on. It was a moving thing. The sinister sponges worship the loofah of life.
Okay.
A sparg from Vishtech 3 ate Sally Ann's Auntie Sue.
Okay.
This is the story we watched. The quarks are mentioned by Bento. There we go. You filthy little quark. The young of the Pomtemrays. It's like your name but different.
Yes.
Called Lit Villas. Fucking whatever this is about. Bento Zame is from the planet. Wait, is that esophagus? Is that what it says? Osphagus.
It
looks like esophagus.
It looks like esophagus without the E.
Yeah. Which was terraformed 5,000 years before the time of the story.
Okay.
In Yu-Gi-Oh, the card Terraforming allows you to choose a field card from your deck to draw. Fun fact.
Blackjack 21.
Jack Black.
We are the D, 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 we are the D. Dun, 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 dun.
The Jellod is expecting a home entertainment system from the planet Vendalos. The depot for said entertainment system is on the Cernus Traxia. That sounds like an ear infection, Cernus Traxia.
Yeah.
Abydos is located in the Rim Worlds. Nothing much is out there. Bento wanted to buy it.
Isn't the Rimworlds in...
Oh, one thing we've got to mention. The Stardust.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that the one doctor has a thing called a Stardust.
Which is a portal.
Yeah. So kind of like the Stardust is what like someone who doesn't know the show would call the TARDIS.
Yeah, it's his interpretation of the Doctor is like someone described the show and then they described it to someone else. Never seen it.
It's like how David Morrissey has a hot air balloon.
Yeah, that's great.
Was it tethered
aerial? I can't remember.
Fuck, it's annoying me now. Okay. The next Doctor TARDIS. We've got to find this out. It's very important. It's very important.
Teresa. Alistair. Rosetta. Dominic. Ingrid. Samantha. Did you know you can support us on Patreon? For a small donation, you can join one of our tiers, where you can get early access, exclusive access, you can ask for us to do videos, and we've already done a few, and included in the exclusive access tier, have you found it?
Yes.
Okay, fuck Patreon.
Tethered,
Thank you so much for supporting us, by the way.
Tethered aerial release developed in style.
I love the next Doctor.
That is such a Pertwee gadget name, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
What does it stand for, Doctor? Tethered aerial release developed in style, Joe.
Developed in style.
What is its purpose?
To fly. Yes. Here's the Stardust.
Bento uses a psychic screwdriver.
Yes.
The cylinder projects its transmission over Generarius 1 with a multi-phase choroplectic sound wave.
Yes.
At the start of this adventure, the Doctor is indulging in
Megalomania?
megalomaniacal side by playing Monopoly. That's right, they'll play Monopoly at the start.
Because it starts with him says, "You will all do my bidding," or something like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is the first of the Big Finish Productions Christmas releases. So this is the first Big Finish Christmas special.
Interesting.
They are a bit more lighthearted than the other releases. The following years was Bang Bang a Boom. Hey, maybe next year. Maybe. If it's good or bad, we'll know. I guess we'll find out. I was expecting something exciting and it was Rust.
It was a head. Oh, it's Rust. And the smell of soap.
For those of you who watched, I think it was day... It was either 1 or 13. Probably 13. If you, by that point, hadn't tried LMP, tell us, have you tried it now after 2 weeks? And now tell us what you think of LMP.
And why you prefer ginger ale.
Well, they're very different.
Yeah. Why you prefer lemonade, Sprite, Lift? I don't know. Is Lift a thing outside of Australasia?
It is.
Okay.
If I'm desperate for some sugar at work, I mix Lift and LMP together.
Nice. I used to do that at the Burger King. They're like,
oh,
get whatever drink you want. And I was like,
the Burger King special, you have all of them.
That's the one. Except there was one I never had Coke Raspberry. I didn't like Coke Raspberry.
Oh, I mean, when I did it, I literally mixed every drink together. That
You madman!
Yeah, exactly. That was the Burger King drink. It was Coke and Coke Zero.
And a bit of the mold that came through.
It was Coke and Coke Zero and Sprite and Fanta and raspberry and ginger beer and LMP.
And some water. And some ice.
Yes. Yeah. The title of the story is a reference to the fact that there are multi-doctor stories. In this case, it jokingly hints. But the one doctor we already explained. The third episode features the Delaware version of the Doctor Who theme tune. So I mentioned this before. If any of you are aware, or not aware of what this is, it is from the overseas print of Carnival of Monsters. It actually did broadcast. I know it happened in Australia, for sure.
It may have happened here.
Well, I mean, the Australian print, I'm pretty sure,
Would have been the same.
tended to relay to ours. Not always. We had a copy of Marco Polo and the Crusade. And now we don't.
Was eaten by our sheep.
No, do you know what happened? Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe we fed it to the sheep. But you know what happened? We called up the BBC and we said, hey, do you want this back? And they said no. Go check out Josh Snare's channel. He's covered all that stuff.
Also check out Clever Dick Films if you want slightly, like, more directly in the actual behind the scenes of the show itself. Brilliant documentaries, both by Josh Snares and Clever Dick Productions. Granted, if you're watching an obscure Doctor Who channel like ours, you've seen those two channels already, so I don't know why we're recommending them. But go see them if you haven't, on the off chance.
Mentos asks the Doctor if he's going to use one of those Fox the Computer conundrums, that last thing I said was false and all that. This alludes to the popular means of defeating misguided or evil computers in Star Trek, but also references the Green Death.
Yes.
I am the computer. That's one of the cliffhangers. I think part 4. The Doctor claims he has very good eyesight in the dark due to drinking so much carrot juice.
Carrot juice?
Mel mentions the fact that she has the memory of an elephant as a running gag between herself and the Doctor. Well, I haven't seen Terror of the Vervoids, and I haven't seen Time in the Rani, so I wouldn't know that.
To be honest, I don't remember it.
Also, on the season 23 box set,
yes,
they released a version of Terror of the Vervoids without the trial scenes. So they released it as a individual story played within its chronological time.
Cool.
And with a new title sequence as well.
That's cool.
It's like a New Who Colin Baker title sequence. It's like the same sort of color design of the title sequence, the same face and everything, the same logo, but it's got like a portal, like you know how New Who's title sequences have like a portal, or like the 70s ones did as well. It's like that, but Colin Baker.
There we are.
The Sixth Doctor's comment that his hair stands on an end in the presence of another's self is later mentioned at Light in the End when he arrives at the pocket dimension at the same time as the Seventh Doctor.
Spoilers, but yes.
I haven't seen that, heard that, just can't see it yet. Conclusion and rating out of 10 for the One Doctor.
It's pointless, really. I mean, granted, everything's pointless. but but in terms of, it's non-essential in terms of the canon of the both Big Finish and the main show's lore. It's highly entertaining if you can put up with silliness. The cast are really good. Sound design's great. There could be a bit more spatial directing, but that's a minor quibble because the rest of it's so strong. very entertaining, nothing extraordinary. 7 out of 10.
The One Doctor, very funny, very entertaining. Colin Baker's great. Mel's actually quite good. The One Doctor is a funny concept of something that Gareth Roberts would do. Nice little twist on the multi-doctor thing. The Weakest Link stuff's great. The Jelloid's weird but fun. And it's very cheesy, but I like it. The robots are a little bit and I wish there was a bit more visualization in my brain. But it's a fun little Gareth Roberts romp. And I give it a 7 out of 10.
If you've listened to it, what do you think about it? Give us your review, comment, Big Finish recommendations. Let us know.
I think this is Lord Slaugh's favourite Christmas special in all of Doctor Who.
That checks out.
What does that mean?
In terms of what his tastes usually are.
Well, yeah. But I think that means he likes this more than Chimes of Midnight, which is very surprising.
But I guess because this is a bit more fun, if you're wanting something Christmassy, in the terms of usual Christmas
that's a good point.
Stuff.
And, New Who. And even though it's Hartnell, the Feast of Stephen, you can't really... I watched that story with him. And, yeah. We watched the CGI version, and the, 1960s car park with policemen, and it's the car that's parked next to the TARDIS is Mickey's Mini. I wish I recorded that. That was a good marathon. Anyway, let us know what you think of The One Doctor if you've seen it, or if you haven't. Then I don't know. Hope you enjoyed the review anyway. Enjoyed all the spoilers.
Hope you enjoy our channel and
this advent calendar. 24 days, nearly over for you guys.
Advent calendar, and tomorrow.
Tomorrow is the finale, day 25.
Ooh!
Last year, we ranked all the Doctors for day 25.
Yes, indeed.
So who knows what it'll be this year?
We'll have to figure it out.
I'm trying to think of... I should have prepared this. I'm trying to think on the spot of a Davies level cliffhanger for the finale. I don't know what it is.
The doctor's come back with your result.
Get your vaccinations done.
I don't know why not. Please. That shouldn't be a political thing. Look after yourself. Stay healthy. Be kind to one another.
Clara, just be kind. Get your vaccinations. But no, tomorrow's a big day. And I hope you all...
Once we figure out what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah! But
I'm sure it will be.
I hope you enjoy tomorrow, day 25. And, just before you hit that click, I will remind you all that this calendar will be extended on Patreon.
Was that announced yet?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, it will be announced a million times by now.
Okay.
This calendar will be extended on Patreon from days 26 to 31.
Yep.
So patrons will get an extended calendar. Those videos that were in that Patreon exclusive will then be released week by week in the new year. But for now, join us tomorrow for day 25 for the finale of 2019 Genesis of the Episode.